Enable notifications by ringing the bell. Back in the 1990s, especially the late 90s, a filmmaker came along by the name of M. Night Shyamalan.
Twisty McTwist? No, never mind.
Twisty McTwistyson.
Yeah.
Or M. Night Shyamalan. Or M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong, as a friend of mine refers
M. Night
to
Shammy Hamalam.
Yeah.
I can't remember what
M. Night
they...
Shamwow.
Let's see.
So, anyway, M. Night Shyamalan released in 1999 The Sixth Sense, which has one of the best movie endings ever. I don't care what anyone says. It has one of the best movie endings ever, and it also introduced the world to Haley Joel Osment, for better or worse. And
Everyone who saw that in the theaters, every person working with theater cleanup at the time, I feel bad for having to scrape everyone's brains off the freaking floor from their heads exploding at the end of that movie.
Yeah, yeah, and it's such a good ending, and eventually he started to make other films. The first one he made after The Sixth Sense was a film called Unbreakable. Mm-hmm. Unbreakable dealt with a man played by Bruce Willis.
More Bruce Willis.
More Bruce Willis.
I mean, always more Bruce Willis.
Well, anyway, Bruce Willis portrayed a security guard who seemed to have a little bit of a strange coincidence about him. There was a train crash that he was on, and everybody died except for him. And not only did he not die, he didn't have a scratch on him. So that led him to be contacted by a man by the name of by just Samuel L. Jackson. I'll just call him who he is. And the thing about Samuel L. Jackson's character is that Samuel L. Jackson plays a character who has brittle bone disease, meaning that his bones, the calcium in his bones, is not there pretty much at all, and it breaks easily.
Yeah.
So so at the end of the film, there's another twist ending that a lot of people said was stupid, and this was when people really started to see the problem with Shyamalan having twists in all of his films. The twist being that Samuel L. Jackson's character, a.k.a. Mr. Glass, was not only responsible for the train crash that Bruce Willis was involved in, but a multitude of other terrible accidents that happened. And, turns out he was just fulfilling the dichotomy in his head of the superhero and the supervillain. Because where Bruce Willis is impervious to pain, impervious to injury, and is super strong, Samuel L. Jackson is very frail, very, very pervious to pain, and also has a very, very, very high intellect, super intelligent. And they actually, during the process of the film, kind of became friends. Mm-hmm. And it portrayed the whole thing, the whole Lex Luthor and Superman thing, because when Superman and Lex Luthor first met, they were at first friends, and then they became adversaries. And it's the traditional dichotomy that often unfolds in comic books. The friend often becomes the villain. Case in point, the Punisher, his friend developed into Jigsaw, I believe. And then he had another. And then there's Batman. Harvey Dent became Two-Face.
So another big one with Batman is Hush.
Hush, yes.
Yes,
that one.
That's a huge one.
That is a really big one, yeah.
But so then we got Split.
Yeah, which
I
loved.
Turns out ties into Unbreakable,
which nobody knew at first.
Nobody knew.
And then at the very end of the film, there was our twist. And here's the thing: the twist didn't happen in the film the way you would expect it, because the twist always was involved with the main story. Instead, this was something you didn't even know was involved, and the twist happened there. It was weird. I was just like...
It was like, what's the twist? Here's the twist. This is a movie set in another cinematic universe that has been started already. And everybody's like, That's actually a good twist again, M. Night Shyamalan. Way to go.
So anyway, we got Split, which introduced us to James McAvoy's character, who has 24 split personalities. One of them being the Beast, who is super strong, takes full shotgun blasts to the chest and doesn't die.
Can apparently climb walls.
And can climb solid, like almost
sheer
walls. Just by digging his fingernails into it and climbing.
It's basically a demon.
Yeah, effectively.
But not the devil, because that was a shitty movie.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway,
I still liked it.
The trailer for Glass. The trailer for Glass is here, and let's give it a watch and see if Samuel L. Jackson even comes close to yelling that oh so famous word he's known for.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
No. It's not the one you're thinking about.
Or is it?
Snakes?
Yes. That's what I was going.
I was like, is it snakes?
I've had it with these monkey flipping snakes
on this Monday to Friday plane.
It's amazing to meet you.
Sarah Paulson.
Simply extraordinary. Maybe this will all make sense if I explain who I am.
No.
My name is Dr. Ellie Staple, and I'm a psychiatrist.
My work concerns a particular type of delusion of grandeur.
Oh.
It's a growing field. I specialize in those individuals who believe they are superheroes.
It's just all three of them.
Yes. Good for you.
Good for you. Yes.
The three of you've convinced yourselves you have extraordinary gifts like something out of a comic book.
Huh.
David Dunn, the only person to survive that train wreck all those years ago.
What do you do?
I'm in security.
You think you have superpowers.
It's a feeling. Vision. I have to touch them.
You believe you are a protector.
My name is Patricia.
I have no question there are 24 identities
I'm Mary Reynolds. Por favor, señora. We almost got you, bro.
that live in that body with
Didn't
you.
know Logan Paul lived in
It's
there.
coming any minute now for you guys.
But what I am questioning is your belief that you are something more than human.
And yet, it is true. My bones break easily. I've had 94 breaks in my life.
But you have an extraordinary IQ.
This is not a cartoon. This is the real world.
No way.
And yet, some of us still don't die with bullets. Some of us can still bend steel. I've been waiting for the world to see that we exist. May I meet the Beast? I hope for your sake that he likes you. That sounds like the bad guys teaming up. A lot of people are going to die. Don't do this. Are you ready? What do we call you, sir? First name, Mr. Last name, Glass.
And the thing about it is, Mr. Glass
Dude.
does sound like a supervillain name.
Yeah.
It does.
Am I the
Boy,
only one
howdy,
that
doesn't
thinks that M. Night Shyamalan has put out so many meh movies over the past year since The Sixth Sense? Because he's just been saving up and channeling his most awesome ideas into this. 'Cause this looks
Probably.
fucking cool.
It does.
It does look really
It
good.
does.
So it would not surprise me if that's true.
Well,
Yeah.
well, the thing about it is,
The long play? All right.
I think maybe that is the case, because I think Unbreakable, he wanted to start something, but where it didn't meet the standard of how much money The Sixth Sense made, the studio was just like, do a film that's more relatable to people, like The Sixth Sense. Okay, and then he gives us Signs, and it makes $250 million in the U.S.
Well, so also, at the time, we hadn't seen a successful, superhero universe of movies.
Yeah, because
also be true.
about at that time was when the first X-Men movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
And when it hit the box office, every movie company out, well, to quote Kevin Smith from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, the line that he wrote. I know Jason Lee said the line, but Kevin Smith wrote the line. Mm-hmm. When X-Men hit the box office, all movie studios out there started going out and grabbing up every comic book property they could get their grubby little hands on.
Yep.
And one that was created, like original content from the ground up, is this. The Unbreakable film was something conceived from the ground up, and then of course, Split, another one conceived from the ground up, and then when you combine those two together and you put them in the same universe, it's just like, well,
then things start getting interesting.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I think what you're getting here is, instead of getting, the big budget, monstrous, huge scope and scale of the Avengers films, and instead here you're getting not a B movie, but a more concentrated and more visceral, superhero film.
I like this because this feels like the Avengers, to an extent, feels rooted in an alternate real world.
Yeah,
but this feels even more heavily rooted in our world. It feels more relatable and almost more believable to an extent.
Yeah.
To some degree, yes, because of how they portray Bruce Willis and his super strength. They portray because brittle bone disease is an actual disease, and they wouldn't dare show anyone like that in as a main character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Because also in Marvel, they're linked to comics and the real world. There's comics are things that are written about these guys because they're so cool,
Yeah.
And in this, it's more like you guys think you're from comic books, It's like people are skeptical of them and everything, and it's like an emerging thing, and I like it. It's setting up a really neat idea for a different take on sort of comic book superhero thing.
The thing that I'm worried about with it is, what happens if he starts trying to tie in other movies?
I don't think he will.
Like The Happening.
I don't think he will.
I think so.
I think that's everything else.
I got real worried there. I was like, okay, so we have 3 M. Night Shyamalan movies that are actually linking together. What if they try to link in more? And I just went, no.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't say.
No.
I worry.
It feels to me like he's attempting something successful here, and I think he's had a lot of time to see what works with people and what doesn't.
He's had a lot of experience.
So these have worked, and maybe he's gonna. I think he's smarter than we give him credit for sometimes.
Well,
hopefully.
I think when he reinvented himself was when he did The Visit. When he did The Visit, he went back to, instead of having $50 to $100 million budgets, he had a $10 to $12 million budget. And I think he had to reinvent himself. And then when he did Split, I forget how much of a budget Split had, but it was not much at all. Let me check here. So Split came out, I believe, 2016.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, it was about 2016.
Yeah, 2016. It was September 2016 was when it debuted. Had a budget of $9 million.
Wow.
Damn.
How much did it make?
They didn't really need a lot for that, I don't think. Because it was, it was 4.
I don't have any money.
4 main characters, basically 5 main characters, I guess. And most of it was shot in the same location.
Mm-hmm.
They only had a few sets they needed for it, and they didn't have any spectacular effects or anything. So I could totally see that being a real, low budget movie while still telling the story it was meant to tell. And everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, they had the basement, which they actually used a college basement, a storage room for the sets on that. And I think the biggest part of the film where the most money was spent was on contracting James McAvoy to portray these characters, in which he did tremendous work. I mean,
he's a hell of an actor.
Oh, dude, extremely believable. From the one woman, I believe her name is Felicia, all the way up to the Beast. Yeah. I believed every single character he portrayed.
It was real good.
Yeah, and by the end of that film, I was expecting one thing, and I got something completely different. when it came to the Beast, when it came to like the reveal of the Beast, and then what happened with the other characters in the film, and then I was expecting one thing to happen, but then something else did. But I think that's what films need to do every now and
I
again.
think he also managed to do a very almost like red herring type thing with his twist in that too, because I think everybody kind of thought the Beast was the twist. Because it was like, oh, the twist is the Beast is actually a real thing, and he actually is going to be all super powerful and stuff when the Beast comes out and everything. And they're like, that's the twist. And then they're like, wait, that wasn't the twist. Oh. You know?
Yeah, it's just like,
So-
surprise!
Yeah.
So, what were you looking at there, Clinton?
Since we were talking about the whole budget thing, I looked up one of my all-time favorite movies, which is the 1968 Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
It was done on a budget of $114,000
Yeah.
and grossed over $18 million.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
Well-
that's wow.
Well, it's just like the Mad Max movies. The first two Mad Max movies were made on like shoestring budgets.
Yeah.
And then it went on to make over, I think, like the second one made over, I think, $13 million. And to me, that's just unbelievable. And then we get Mad Max Fury Road, which was made with $170 million, was one of the most, like, technically brilliant films I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to watch that.
You and Ben both need to watch that.
Really?
Which movie is this?
Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So,
it Nick and Ben haven't seen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we
And
might as well
Heather.
tie it in with Heather.
And Heather.
Yeah.
And Heather, she's interested.
I mean, I think Heather would really like Fury Road,
Yeah.
All right.
from
Well,
what I know
I
about
think
it.
she-
we're actually going over.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
crap.
So anyway, thank you all very much for tuning in. This was Glass, the movie trailer. Samuel Jackson, Bruce Willis, and James McAvoy. If you are interested, let us know in the comments below. And until next time, we will see you later, everyone. Peace out.